You were a lowly cook on a trading spelljammer. Everything was clear sailing until they attacked. You heard commotion up on deck and grew fearful, so you hid in a barrel, hoping your fellow sailors would handle it. Eventually, they discovered you and brought you to the deck of the ship. The spellcasters were shackled and brought onto their ship. The rest of the crew were either slaughtered or thrown overboard into wild space, but you were doomed to a fate worse, far worse. You were tied down on a sacrificial altar where you sat waiting for your end. Eventually, they approached you with a weapon. Sweet release, you thought. But oh no, this was much worse. They made a slit in your chest. Then the elder extended his head up, 6 feet in the air like a snake. He shot his tongue out and it stuck in your wound. The plant monster injected a poison into you. As the days passed, you lost sentience and morphed into a jellied ooze. You rose as one of them. An Aartuk, you now know to call them. You have the memories of your infector, and so now you see the reason you were given. A gift of birth. Today's video is on the Aartuk. First, I'm going to tell you what Boo tells you about the Aartuks. So, Aartuks are intelligent plant-based creatures which are said to live solely to wage war. Aartuk bodies are shaped like a five-pointed star called a pentamerous radial symmetry, which are covered in thick but flexible bark. The tips of these appendages are suction cups, giving the creatures a natural climb speed. Each of these suction cups are said to have 3 retractable pseudopods, which can manipulate small objects. Aartuk heads are atop 6-foot tall stalks that extend from the central body. This head contains all of the Aartuk's sensory organs, including the long tongue, which can be used as a weapon. Aartuk continue to grow throughout their life, some elders reaching 12 foot in diameter. The preferred method of attack of an Aartuk is to first grapple the enemies with its tongue and pull them 25 feet towards them to be battered by their 5 branches. The Aartuk language is said to be made up of rustling sounds, snaps, pops, and hisses, with no written form known. The Aartuk homeworld is said to have been destroyed by beholders, which sent Aartuks into diaspora around the Astral Sea, organized into small nomadic cells. The Aartuk elder and priest are said to have psionic powers, with the priest being able to cast Revivify. Very powerful. Next, let's talk about what Boo doesn't tell you. So, Aartuks come in a variety of colors depending on their favorite environment. Those tribes who favor sandy or dusty environments have grey coloured bark, while those who prefer rocky terrain have stony textured bark. Other tribes which prefer to live in dense foliage often let moss, mushrooms, and small plants grow on their limbs. In all cases, Aartuk are capable of concealing themselves in their natural environment. Aartuk are unable to see visible light. Instead, they sense vibrations, smells, and can see infrared radiation. In prior edition, the Aartuk's radiant pellet did twice the damage of a normal Aartuk, but in 5e it's only 1 more d4 at 4 instead of 3. Additionally, in prior editions, elders could cast magic stone on their pellets, allowing them to injure opponents only harmed by magical attacks. Aartuks don't value precious metals such as gold or platinum, instead preferring to take gems, magical weapons, and art-glorifying war. The only Aartuk capable of piloting a spelljammer helm are the elders, which is why spellcasters are often taken as slaves to pirate the various ships in an Aartuk flotilla. Aartuk are lawful evil and are so usually true to their word and will keep a reasonable agreement. Aartuk elders are the only ones able to replenish the air envelope. It can do so and sustain 50 medium-sized creatures, but this further motivates the Aartuk to take no captives, and so excess victims are either killed for meat or set adrift into wild space. Aartuk reproduce by infecting an unconscious victim with either a bacterial agent or a virus, different sources vary, that progressively turns the victim into flesh into jelly, killing them within a few days. A fully grown Aartuk warrior emerges from the jelly within a month and shares the memories of the Aartuk who originally infected the victim. A victim is infected if an Aartuk places their tongue in an open wound for at least 3 rounds. The Aartuk consider this the quote-unquote gift of birth, and they consider it a sign of respect and a great honor for the selected victim. The victim is usually infected during a religious ceremony overseen by the elder. Now, the elders can produce a sap, which can be fermented into a beverage, which is highly sought after by beholders. It's known as Aartukla. The body of a single elder produces enough sap to produce a small keg of Aartukla, which could fetch thousands of gold pieces to the right buyer. So, in conclusion, this is a race with sophisticated culture far above the common plant monsters like the shambling mind. The reproductive cycle for me raises more questions than it answers. I guess that's the point, though. At least one point I want to raise is the fact that Aartuk warriors created from the quote-unquote gift of birth retain the memories of the previous Aartuk. Now, this retained memory has given races like the Aboleth immense power and supernatural intelligence, so why are Aartuks not also supremely intelligent? It's just a thought. Overall, I like the monster style and lore. I wish there was a wider CR range between the Elder and the Priest or Warrior. If I was running this Warrior, I'd add some psionic themed attacks like Mind Spike or Tasha's Mind Whip to the Elder. It's a cool monster. I'd give it a 15 out of 20.